Hatuda kange.
Hakutu susu.
Haku haku.
Hakuti. Yutu umakuna.
Hola. Buenos días.
Con esta canción quiero dedicar a todos mis amigos del grupo Raza. Camilo, Rata, Tocayo.
It's a whole lot different than Texas with all the hills and everything, and it's just a cultural shock, I guess. We're in the left nose of the devil's nose.
Sinazata, ay como bota carapani. Tu kuisa ni kaisumo, pero tisantate. Asun tranquila, otra cuenta. En especial, a mi compañero del alma. Pichincha.
Honestly, I love you all, and I would love to call you guys my family, and I hope in the future we can grow together as one giant family.
Sentimientos, esa mandolita.
A labyrinth is an ancient spiritual archetype. It's not to be confused with a maze. Maze is designed as a puzzle. It's really an enigma. Its purpose is to trick and puzzle the user. If you think about mazes, they have multiple entrances, multiple exits. They have false turns. They have dead ends. They have cul-de-sacs, and it's really something to confuse the person who's working or walking through it, or even if you're using your hand or maybe even on paper. Whereas a labyrinth has a singular focus, and that is for spiritual reflection, meditation, and contemplation.
My interpretation of a labyrinth is more cultural than anything else. It's a way to release your stress. Whenever you walk into the labyrinth, that's the time when you reflect. Whenever you get to the center, you're supposed to absorb, and just whenever you walk out, you release.
The Sacred Sites Quest, aka SSQ, is a program which has evolved into a business where we are recruiting and taking students from Houston primarily, but from around the country, to visit sacred spaces, and that's essentially the first part of the experience. And in their learning of the cultural diversity of these sacred spaces and the people behind these different organizations and institutions, they get a chance to take all of that knowledge and information and put it into use by creating a sacred space of their own in a foreign country, and in some cases even in their own community here in Houston. And so most recently, we've had an opportunity to recruit 18 high school kids from across the city of Houston to travel with us to Ecuador.
We had an opportunity to take the SSQ students to a public school and work with 60 young people, ages 13 through 15, and absolutely marvelous. The students were so excited about the activities, and we were really excited just to be able to bring STEM into the classroom and add the art, so STEAM actually, and absolutely fabulous.
I'm very excited to be here.
Estoy muy contenta de estar acá.
Are you excited?
¿Están contentos ustedes?
Yes! Awesome. We have traveled. I am from Houston, Texas, and we have come as a group to be able to share this activity with you.
Soy muy excited to be here.
It's very, very interesting and very important for the students from Houston to be able to interact directly with them. And I can see that at the very beginning it was a little bit of a tense, especially because of the language barrier. And we introduced the first activity, which was to build a rig. We've done this activity in the UK before. And by building a rig together, they were kind of breaking barriers. And I saw a lot of the students from Ecuador starting to speak a lot more English. It was very interesting. And I also saw the students from Houston speak a lot more Spanish. Even though there was a language barrier for some of them, they were able to kind of work together because everybody knew what the instructions were, and they were able to work together in a team in spite of the language barrier.
I like how the people teach us, because they explain us very well and they don't confuse us.
Me gusta más cuando armamos la torre con papel.
My favorite part was when we built the oil rig replica out of paper and straw.
We had to build a form of oil rig. Like it had to have like certain sections into it, and it had to be able to hold like 3 bags of rice. And like it had like have a cup on it, and like they poured rice into it. So that was like the weight test.
I hope that this experience like this, I hope that have again this experience.
For me, the event was very interesting because I like robotic. For me, it's very awesome. Look the drums.
Felt like we were friends at the school, and the kids that I met were really interesting and fun to work with.
For me as a volunteer, I really enjoy to be part of these kind of programs and look for be part of the contribution for the country, because these kids will also be part of the development of the country.
And it was really awesome to find out before it was all said and done that the Secretary of Education was actually in the room. It was really just an experience that I will treasure forever.
The importance of SSQ at a young age is that a lot of high schoolers unfortunately don't get to leave the United States. They don't get to travel until they're in college, and I think high school is when you learn the most about yourself. You learn who you are, but more importantly, you learn about the world around you, and it's incredibly difficult to do so in this enclosed, sheltered bubble that I feel a lot of us are trapped within. I think high school can stop us from perceiving the cultures of the rest of the world, and something like SSQ provides students with not only the experience to engage in other cultures, but also to do so in a thought-provoking, intelligent way. Like, not only do we focus on the art of the labyrinth, but we also focus on the intellectual capability, and thanks to like Schlumberger and Seed, we can address these things, and we can encourage kids our age to pursue things like engineering.
The circumference of the circles that we're using here is 477 feet. And we selected 4 or 5 kids that were kind of high school math whizzes. They were good at geometry, they were good at mathematics and angles and rays and those sorts of things. And they worked with us on translating what it was going to take in terms of materials and supplies and space to put that pattern down on the ground.
In fact,
now we need 32.
Well, 32 people for these rays, when in fact, and again I could be wrong here, but wouldn't having 32 people cause some of these rays to overlap?
We were trying to figure out, as the design team met the night before we went out to the cloud forest, we were trying to figure out what it was going to take for the group to put the design down. We had lots of strings. There were 16 rays that came from the center of the labyrinth, and we were talking about we were going to need 32 people to manage each end of these strings to make it work. And then there was a pause for a moment, and one of the questers, Harold Owens, said, "Well, wait a minute, guys. He said, it's only going to take 16, because we're really talking about 8 rays all the way through." And so all of a sudden, the kids were telling us how it was that we were going to have to build this labyrinth. And that was a great moment, because I knew not only were they really bright and helpful, but they also became a real part of the build itself.
Watching the students build a labyrinth was everything. watching the teamwork, the planning that went into it, the students taking initiative to create assembly lines and their chain gang to kind of get 15,000 river rocks into the right place was profound.
You rock.
She rocked.
It was kind of harder than the bricks that we used because they were heavier. The labyrinth building went smoother than I thought it would be. I kind of thought it'd be hectic, but we got it done quickly. We knocked it out. It could have been knocked out in one day, but you know, the rain and the weather and everything got in the way, but it was crazy teamwork. It was just passing the rocks and it was done before we knew it, and we're walking it and we're out of there.
But there's two objectives. One is to help stamp down the path, and two, absorb from what you need out of this experience.
The outcome was just really like satisfying that we were able to build something that so many people are gonna be able to see, and you know, just recognize that we were able to strongly put something together like that.
It was actually quite impressive how we did it in like less than 5 hours, but it looked so beautiful. It looked like it had been there for more than 10 years. It looked like it meant to exist there.
I would say my favorite part of the trip was being able to build and share the sacred archetype of the labyrinth, and especially in an area that's so biologically diverse. It was like the perfect pinnacle or culmination of spirituality and Pachamama coming together. It was amazing.
It changed my life forever in the way I look at life and the way I view life and my perspective on life. And I didn't expect this, but for me to bow down and show my respect to the outside world, just a rock that's shaped like a heart, but to me it was a energy portal, and to bow down my respect essentially to the universe and paying gratitude for this experience and for me being on this earth and for me to fulfill my purpose was transforming.
There are magic moments and magic places in our lives, and this certainly is one of them. Take in these moments to remember. It behooves us to keep our door open to that magic every day of our life. It behooves us to linger in those places, not necessarily with the expectation that magic will happen, but just with the knowledge that it could. And it behooves us to be grateful. So this morning, as we dedicate this, let's bring our gratitude to our group together, the work that we did, and the legacy that we leave behind.
We're constantly looking for students who are open-minded and willing to and ready to receive the kind of insight and experience that SSQ has to offer.
What I have learned about the Ecuadorian culture is that it's very open to people who are willing to learn about it.
Well, SSQ is important for a number of reasons, chief among them being to get out of your comfort zone, explore the world, and broaden your horizons. In addition to that, you get to travel with people you care about, people who you can build relationships with. My favorite part of the trip was interacting with such wonderful people, and not just the people who were part of the group with SSQ, but some of the natives, because the native population of Ecuador, they're very kind, and even though there's a language barrier, they're very inviting of young students and young minds like us, like at the chocolate farm today and at El Encanto and other places. So.
We went to 3 different portions out of the 4, so every part was very different. I mean, there was the rainforest, Quito, being in the city, just very city life, the cars honking their horns, lots of traffic, lots of people. But once you got into the highlands, it was just mountains and trees and all these different animals and bugs, and it was just gorgeous.
My favorite experience would have to be the waterfall in Los Bencos. It was amazing how the nature of the cloud forest ecosystem was able to create such a beautiful scenery.
I loved seeing the Inca ruins because actually being able to travel to a part in history is truly amazing. Like, you learn that kind of stuff in school, and to be able to go out and actually physically touch what the Incans had built, that is really awesome.
My favorite place was the equator, mainly because I never thought I would be able to go to such an awesome place, where when we went to the museum, I learned so much about you can balance an egg on a screw, you can just do all these different things that you can't do anywhere else.
Oh yeah, the food was really good.
Tried beef
tongue,
which was really odd, but it was good. I liked it.
I had plantains, my favorite food, so I'll make sure to have them every day now.
Food was pretty good for the most part. Some of it was kind of weird though. For example, they served the fish with the head, which was kind of creepy, but also kind of fun to play with.
The guinea pig was different. I kind of was scared to eat it, and I kind of ended up liking it, but I was kind of grossed out at the thought of eating a household pet. I didn't really feel like the youngest person, actually. I was kind of brought in, and I felt comfortable around the other SSQers.
I was very, very nervous coming in because not only was I new to the program, but I was new to Texas and the United States. So it was very, very nerve-wracking for me to come in with all these new people. But very, very quickly did everybody become family.
Okay, what I liked the most out of SSQ, probably most likely it is, just being able to feel what it's like, to know what it's like to live with all these amazing people, and to think that I would be in Ecuador, in a place that I never even dreamed of or even thought about even going ever in my life. So that probably hit the closest to home, and I'm so proud to call these people family to me.
Sharing with y'all has been so wonderful and so unexpected. And I'm just really grateful. I've been stretched, and y'all have really helped me. And I didn't think I would get to learn these lessons at 15 in South America.
I think we should all take a moment. We should thank Reginald, we should thank Rhonda, we should thank all the chaperones. Thank Schlumberger for letting this amazing experience happen. You guys are changing our lives significantly. It's just something we really appreciate. We love you guys. It all means so much to us. Thank you for this experience.
The importance of SSQ at a young age is that a lot of high schoolers unfortunately don't get to leave the United States. They don't get to travel until they're in college, and I think high school is when you learn the most about yourself. You learn who you are, but more importantly, you learn about the world around you, and it's incredibly difficult to do so in this enclosed, sheltered bubble that I feel a lot of us are trapped within. I think high school can stop us from perceiving the cultures of the rest of the world, and something like SSQ provides students with not only the experience to engage in other cultures, but also to do so in a thought-provoking, intelligent way. Not only do we focus on the art of the labyrinth, but we also focus on the intellectual capability, and thanks to Schlumberger and Seed, we can address these things, and we can encourage kids our age to pursue things like engineering.
I will take away from this trip
that you can just gather a group of people and build something and get along well, and it won't matter. Even if it's only for 10 days, you'll feel like you've known each other for much, much longer, and that you'll cross paths once again.